Well, hello, everybody. We're doing another episode of Global Leaders Local Coffee. Today I have Iana from OpenPayd who's joining me. Welcome, Iana.
Hi, Mike. Very good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure, pleasure. Well, I always start by asking if you're a coffee drinker, and if so, if there's a favorite coffee.
It's an interesting question because I'm actually right now in a time zone GMT +2, which means that it's 6 p.m. where I am. So it's more of a cocktail hour by now. But yes, otherwise I am a coffee drinker. I do like filter coffee and French press, preferably freshly grinded. So yeah, but I do have to say that right now I'm closer to a cocktail than a cup of coffee.
Sounds good. That sounds good. Well, I won't ask you what your favorite cocktail is. Maybe next time, though. Well, can you tell the audience a little bit about OpenPayd and what makes you guys so special?
Yeah, sure. Starting with, I guess, the second part of your question, I guess what does make us special is really our team, because we have a team spread across multiple countries coming from all sorts of background, and they're all really passionate about payments and making banking better. So that's really what we do. We try and help corporate clients move money more efficiently, faster, cheaper, cross-border. We try and give them a very sleek technology in order to make that experience better. So in a few words, OpenPayd is a digital banking platform that provides payments and banking on a cross-border basis.
That's great. And I imagine you're also dealing with tons of compliance. I know it's something that's near and dear to our heart at Flywire, but how do you navigate, compliance in the changing compliance environment and help your clients do that and yet keep innovating, right? What is that right balance that you see as you advise clients and as you run the business?
Well, Mike, I guess that's a great question, and probably an interesting fact that our audience to share for our audience is that I actually joined the company as a lawyer. I'm a lawyer by background. I didn't really join. There was no intention for me to become the chief executive. But as we had at the time, as I was joining, already 3 licenses. As you quite rightly pointed out, compliance and navigating the regulatory landscape was really at the forefront of everything that we did. So I think having that understanding and also commitment from the shareholder, from the founder, from the entirety of the management team for a continuous investment in compliance and in governance really does help. I frankly believe that is a unique selling point with our clients, because very often our clients come to us for advice first, and we actually shape the solutions with them together. And that requires a lot of understanding of the legal and the regulatory and the compliance framework all in one.
Yeah, no, it's critical, as you navigate, especially the changing environment, right? Having an understanding, making sure the team understands kind of the risks of, certain compliance and regulatory frameworks, but also the fact that, I always say, when I was looking for my chief compliance officer and general counsel, I was not looking for a chief no officer, right? I was looking for someone that understood the risks, could help the company navigate those risks, and make sure that we were running the business in a proper and compliant way. So, it's a critical skill set as you navigate.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you. And actually, for us as a business, the legal team, the compliance, the regulatory teams, they are a partner of the business, and they sit actually at the forefront, at the center of all decisions that we make. So especially for a business of I guess, our size, a business that is at a growth stage, looking at new geographies, adding new product features, having that understanding and actually preempting what is going to happen over the course of the next 12 to 24 months is really, really critical. So I have to say that we're really proud to have an amazing team that is growing their knowledge and helping us grow as a business as a result.
And so you mentioned kind of going through growth and navigating the future. What is top of mind? What's taking up most of your mind share right now as a chief executive? And you're looking over the end of 2020 and the start of 2021 that's upon us.
Well, to be honest, had you asked me that question in the beginning of the year, I would have given you a very, very different answer. Right now, what is at the very top of my mind is the well-being of our people, the well-being of the teams across all locations, because ultimately a business is as good and as strong as its people are. So unless we can make sure as a management team and overall as a business that our teams are fine in that time of uncertainty, we can't really grow. So I guess that's really what we as a management team are paying great attention to and have been over the last 3 to 4 months. Very happy to say that as a result of that, we've managed to keep, I guess, our business and our product and technology plans on track, and we are expanding. We're adding new product features. We're releasing new geographies, and in the background, we're working on expanding even further our licensing coverage.
That's great. It sounds like you're quite busy. Couldn't agree more on the focusing on the people, right? That foundation of people is critical to kind of overcoming any challenge, growing any business. So feel very strongly about that myself. One question I always ask to just kind of get a different side of some of the executives that join us on the show is, talk a little bit, if you can, around what you're doing today, how you grew up, your childhood. Do you ever look back? I'm always a big believer of, we're pretty much a product of our upbringing. And we're oftentimes, if we're doing what we love, we're often doing something that has some connection to our childhood or something that we got hooked on as a child. So, do you see any connections with what you're doing now as a tech executive and in your legal background with kind of your childhood, how you grew up, what kind of formed you? Do you see any connections there?
That's a very difficult question. I think if I said that as a child I did dream to become a payments lawyer, I would probably be pushing it right now. But looking back, absolutely no. And I do reflect on that journey all the time, because again, I'm not a chief executive today by design. But if I look back and look at the experiences that I've had as a child and what brought me to here, I think it's really several things. One is the access to good education. I guess I've been really fortunate enough to have the ability to live in different countries and learn different foreign languages, which is obviously something that enriches immensely, I guess, my experience and my ability to work with people from very different backgrounds and nationalities today. And probably the second thing that has been very formative is sports. I've done sports on a professional level as a child and as a teenager, and I guess that gives a level of discipline that is absolutely unique. And I guess both that openness to the world, to different people, and that discipline is helping me do what I do today.
No, I couldn't agree more. The connection to sports, I think, in business, it continues to be something that I'm surprised about, right? You have a bit of that competitive fire that I think a lot of people, loved in sports and they see in many ways in business and about building something new. So that is a common theme, I've heard time and time again as well. So that's great. I love the multicultural aspect to it, especially running a global business. I imagine it comes in super helpful. Talk to me a little bit about personal life outside of work. How do you keep yourself busy? You still, very active. You mentioned sports. Where would we find you if it wasn't a business day?
If it wasn't a business day over probably the next 15 days, you'd find me at the beach. I really love kite surfing. So very happy to say that for the next 2 weeks, I will be kite surfing. What we do is we take camper vans and we just park at the beach. And if there are good wind conditions, we surf. As I'd like to say, the worst day at the beach is probably better than the best day in the office. Other than that, really just enjoying the time that I have now extra with my family, because I'm no longer spending as much time as I used to in the year, changing locations several times a month, if not several times a week. And now you would find me with my dog in my feet, and I'm really grateful he's not barking, because I wasn't really good enough to him. I didn't take him out before our conversation, but I'll do that straight.
Maybe after he'll get a walk then.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit, we're all dealing with this kind of global pandemic, the impacts to business, the impacts to personal life that you mentioned. Is there something, when you look at kind of the way the world was, are you missing something? Are you longing for some, whether it's team interaction, whether it's a bit of the travel, maybe not as much of the travel that you were used to? Do you look at, something and say, I really do miss that in this new normal that we have?
Of course, there are a number of things that I do miss. It's the ability to interact face to face with my teams, with clients. It's the ability to move freely. But mostly, to be honest, Mike, it does make me reflect on how fortunate we are, fortunate in the sense of having the businesses that we have today, being able to retain, I guess, a steady stream of revenue, being able to give the security to the people that have worked so hard together with myself, together with you, I'm sure, over the course of the last several years, and just be able to stand in front of them and say, we are in a position to weather the storm. So it's really that mostly that sense of gratitude and realizing how fortunate we are in comparison to many other people and many other businesses out there that have really struggled and will continue to struggle over the course of probably the next several years.
Yeah, well, very well said. And I guess last question for me. I know we have a lot of leaders that kind of watch the show, or people that someday would like to run their own company. Like me, I think you are an unintentional, CEO. Any advice to them, out there kind of looking to build a business, looking to lead a team? Is there one thing that you kind of look to tell someone that's critical in that leadership function?
That's a really interesting question. Probably before stepping into the role of chief executive, I would have said, make sure that you understand the problem and make sure that you understand the market that you're servicing. Now, I would probably say, treat everyone with humility and enter every conversation with every single team member, with every client with humility, and treat everyone with respect, because that is the single most important thing that will ultimately pay back.
That's a great one. And I couldn't agree more. Well, that pretty much wraps us up. So I'd just like to thank you for joining us. Hopefully at some point when traveling resumes, we'll get together for maybe a real coffee or a real cocktail at some place in the world. And for the audience, if anybody has anyone else that they'd like to see on the show, drop a post in the comments. Thanks for all the viewership. We hit over 500 viewers last episode, and so appreciate all the support. Thanks, Iana. Really appreciate you joining us.
Thanks so much, Mike. A pleasure. Speak soon.
Take care.